Stop dating your trauma. Why the weight is your greatest power move. Welcome to Soft Girl Era, the sacred space where strong Black women unlearn survival, rediscover softness, and reclaim the joy, rest, and freedom they deserve without guilt, without apology, and without explanation. I'm your host, LeAnne Dolce, pronounced Dole-say, like sweet softness whispered in French. I'm your guide from burnout to boundaries, from doing to being, from strong to soft, and loving every second of it. Today, I had the privilege of sitting down with Demetria Wilcoxon, a powerhouse voice in the world of emotional healing, relationship wellness, and self love advocacy. Demetria has spent years helping women, especially Black women, navigate the messy, complicated terrain of love, heartbreak, and healing. She's not here to sugarcoat anything, she's here to tell the truth. And the truth she shared with me during our conversation is something I believe every single one of us needs to hear, especially if we've ever jumped from one relationship straight into another, thinking we were moving on when really we were just moving the pain around. Demetria is changing the world by giving women permission to pause, to heal, and to choose love from a place of wholeness instead of wounds. Her work is saving hearts, restoring peace, and rewriting the narrative that we have to settle for less than we deserve. So let's talk about it. Here's the thing nobody wants to say out loud. Most of us have chosen our next partner from a place of unhealed trauma. We've picked people not because they were right for us, but because they felt familiar, because they filled a void, because we were lonely, triggered, or desperate to prove we were still lovable after someone else made us feel like we weren't. And when we do that, when we choose from our pain instead of our peace, we almost always end up recreating the same heartbreak in a different body. Demetria Wilcoxon said it plainly during our interview. Do not choose your next partner from a place of unhealed trauma. When we pick people from our wounds, our triggers, our loneliness, we are not protecting ourselves. We are setting ourselves up to repeat the same patterns, the same arguments, the same disappointments, just with a different face and a different name. Choosing from wholeness instead of wounds is an act of protection. It is an act of self respect. It is the difference between building a relationship on a foundation of healing or building it on a foundation of hurt. And I know some of you are sitting there thinking, but LeAnne, I didn't have time to heal. I had to move on. I had to prove I was okay. I get it. I really do. But here's the truth: moving on without healing is not strength, it's survival. And survival mode is not where love thrives. Love thrives in softness, in rest, in honesty, in the kind of peace that only comes when you've done the work to know yourself, to love yourself, and to protect yourself from repeating what broke you in the first place. Let me tell you about Issa Rae. You know her from Insecure, the show that gave us all permission to be messy, complicated, and still worthy of love. But what you might not know is that Issa has been incredibly open about therapy, self doubt, and learning to prioritize her own growth before and during romantic relationships. She didn't just wake up one day and decide to marry her longtime partner, Louis Dion, in a private, intentional ceremony. She did the work. She went to therapy. She used her art to explore the consequences of choosing partners from insecurity rather than wholeness. Issa began with the Awkward Black Girl web series, building a career while confronting her own insecurities and the expectations placed on Black women. Over time, she used storytelling to unpack patterns like staying in unfulfilling relationships, ignoring red flags, and struggling with self worth, the same patterns many of us face when we don't pause to heal. She modeled what it looks like to keep your relationship private, to move at a pace that honors your values, not public pressure. And in doing so, she helped normalize therapy, healing, and emotional honesty for Black women and Black professionals everywhere. Issa's journey aligns directly with what Demetria Wilcoxon shared with me. You cannot choose love well if you are still choosing from pain. She created a hit series that centers Black women's emotional lives and the importance of self awareness in dating. She built a media empire while staying grounded in stories about Black women's interior lives. She gave language and visibility to the idea that you can grow, heal, and then choose love from a healthier place, not from trauma. Now, let's talk about the second thing Demetria emphasized during our interview. Take a real healing break between relationships. And I mean a real one, not the kind where you say you're taking a break, but you're still swiping, still texting, still entertaining situationships because you can't stand to be alone. I'm talking about space, reflection, prayer, therapy, journaling, honest self inventory, the kind of break where you ask yourself, what patterns do I keep repeating? What am I carrying that I need to release? What do I actually want? And what am I willing to do to become the kind of person who can receive it? Because here's the thing: space, reflection, and healing are not wasted time. They are how you stop carrying old baggage into new love. They are how you learn to recognize and receive genuine love when it finally shows up. And they are how you stop mistaking familiarity for compatibility, chemistry for character, and attention for affection. Taraji P. Henson knows this better than most. The Academy Award nominated Golden Globe winning actress has been candid about ending an engagement when she realized her needs and mental health were not being honored. She was managing depression and emotional exhaustion while in a relationship that did not feel emotionally safe or mutually fulfilling. And instead of staying out of fear, history, or obligation, she chose herself. Taraji has spoken about past relationships, being a single mother, and the emotional labor she carried. When her engagement ended, she used that season as a mirror to look at her patterns, her needs, and her non negotiables. Instead of jumping straight into another situation, she prioritized therapy. She took time to focus on her healing and her worth rather than rushing into another relationship. And in doing so, she became a vocal advocate for mental health in the Black community, especially for Black women. Taraji modeled what it looks like to walk away when love does not align with your peace and to treat that decision as strength, not failure. She launched the Boris Lawrence Henson Foundation to address mental health in the Black community. Her story reinforces what Demetria Wilcoxon told me. The wait and the healing break are not punishment, they are protection and preparation. And I want to pause here for a second because I know some of you are thinking, but what if I wait too long? What if I miss my chance? Let me tell you something. You will not miss what is meant for you. You will not lose the right person by taking time to heal. In fact, the right person will respect your healing. They will honor your boundaries. They will not rush you, pressure you, or make you feel like you have to choose them before you've chosen yourself. The right person will wait. And if they won't, they were never the right person to begin with. Now, the third thing Demetria Wilcoxon shared with me during our interview is this: remember your worth so you can receive real love instead of clinging to counterfeit love. When you know you are worthy, you stop overthinking healthy love. You stop negotiating with red flags. You stop convincing yourself that maybe this time will be different when deep down you already know it won't. When you know you are worthy, you start treating heartbreak as a lesson and a mirror, not a life sentence or a reason for revenge. Michelle Obama understands this deeply. The former First Lady of the United States has shared how both she and Barack did individual and couples therapy to strengthen their marriage. She has been open about the resentment and frustration she felt at times, especially when she felt the weight of family life falling on her. But instead of walking away or staying bitter, She used that season as a lesson in self responsibility and healing. In her memoir, Becoming, Michelle describes how early struggles in the marriage forced her to confront her expectations and emotional patterns. She realized she had to focus on her own happiness and healing instead of expecting Barack to fix it. She recentered on her own identity, purpose, and self love, which allowed her to show up differently in the relationship. And in doing so, she helped normalize therapy and emotional work at the highest levels of visibility. Michelle's emphasis on therapy, self reflection, and personal responsibility in love supports what Demetria Wilcoxon shared with me. Heartbreak and conflict should push us into lessons, healing, and character readjustment, not revenge, bitterness, or jumping into the next situation. She reinforces the idea that love thrives when both people are committed to ongoing growth, reflection, and healing. Exactly what we're calling listeners to do between relationships. So here's what I want you to do differently after listening to this. First, pause before you partner. Take at least one intentional season, weeks, months, or longer, where you are not dating to fill a void but actively healing. Pray, journal, maybe go to therapy, and honestly ask yourself, what patterns do I keep repeating? Second, write a real list, not of fantasy traits, but of values and non negotiables. Include how you want to feel, how you want to be treated, and what healthy love looks like for you when you're not operating from fear. Third, do a character readjustment on yourself. Instead of only listing what your next partner must change, ask what in me needs to heal, mature, or be released so I don't carry this same baggage into the next relationship. And fourth, commit to not dating from loneliness. If you feel desperate, deeply triggered, or empty, let that be your sign to pause, not to partner, because the wait is not wasted. The wait is where you find yourself again. The wait is where you learn to love yourself again. The wait is where you remember that you are worthy of real love, not counterfeit love. And the wait is where you prepare yourself to receive the kind of love that honors you, respects you, and meets you where you are, not where you were. Demetria Wilcoxon reminded me during our interview that when we choose from wholeness instead of wounds, we are not just protecting ourselves, we are honoring ourselves. We are saying, I deserve better and I'm willing to do the work to become the kind of person who can receive better. So if you're listening to this and you're in between relationships, or you're thinking about getting into a new relationship, or you're wondering why you keep ending up in the same situation with different people, I want you to hear this. You are not broken. You are not unlovable. You are not too much or not enough. You are healing. And healing takes time. And that time is not wasted. That time is sacred. That time is yours. And when you're ready, when you've done the work, when you've healed the wounds, when you've remembered your worth, love will meet you there. Real love, healthy love, the kind of love that doesn't make you question your value or negotiate your peace, the kind of love that feels like home, not like survival. Here's my challenge to you: stop running from the weight. Stop treating the space between relationships like a punishment or a void that needs to be filled immediately. Start treating it like the gift it is: the gift of clarity, the gift of healing, the gift of becoming the person you were always meant to be before pain convinced you otherwise. Write down 3 patterns you've repeated in past relationships. Be honest, be specific. Then ask yourself what those patterns are trying to teach you. What wound are they pointing to? What healing are they demanding? Then commit to one healing practice this week: therapy, journaling, prayer, a walk in silence, a conversation with someone who truly sees you. Whatever it is, do it with intention. Do it knowing that every step toward healing is a step toward the love you deserve. And finally, make a promise to yourself. Promise that the next time you choose love, you will choose it from wholeness, not wounds, from peace, not pain, from clarity, not confusion. Promise that you will never again settle for counterfeit love when real love is waiting for the healed version of you. The wait is not wasted, it is your greatest power move. And the world is waiting for the version of you that emerges on the other side of it. So take your time, do the work, remember your worth, and trust that what is meant for you will never pass you by. It will wait, just like you're learning to wait for yourself.